the final shortlist for the new financial world. Welcome to CryptoSTANZ, where we analyze the foundational infrastructure that will define the future of finance. For years, we have discussed the coming Great Reset, the non-negotiable global migration to the ISO 20022 standard. That future is no longer a distant prophecy. It is at our doorstep. As we stand in the critical window of mid-2025, with the final swift migration deadline of November 2025 looming, the market is undergoing a great filter. Thousands of digital assets, built on hype and speculation, are facing an existential crisis, unable to meet the stringent technical and compliance demands of this new era. But a handful of projects were built for this moment. They were engineered not as speculative instruments, but as institutional-grade infrastructure. They are the projects that have engaged with regulators, partnered with global enterprises, and built technology capable of powering a tokenized global economy. The window for positioning in these assets before the utility is fully priced in, before the next great run begins, is closing with breathtaking speed. Today, we are moving beyond theory and into strategy. This is not just a watch list. This is a breakdown of what we believe are the top 5 most critical ISO 20022 compliant digital assets that every serious investor must understand now. These 5 projects represent a diversified portfolio of solutions, each tackling a different multi-trillion-dollar facet of the global economy. To understand these 5 is to understand the blueprint for the future of finance. The time for preparation is over. The time for positioning is now. Ripple XRP, the institutional settlement king. It is impossible to begin any serious discussion of ISO 20022 without starting with the undisputed leader in institutional cross-border settlement, Ripple and its native asset, XRP. For years, XRP has been at the center of regulatory battles and market debate. But with the landmark SEC settlement now finalized, it has emerged a level of regulatory clarity in the United States that is unparalleled among its peers. This victory was not just an end to a lawsuit. It was the official starting gun for its full-scale integration into the world's largest financial market. Why XRP is number 1 on this list? XRP's power lies in its singular, unwavering focus on solving the multi-trillion-dollar problem of interbank settlement. Its core technology, the XRP ledger XRPL, was not designed to host dApps or NFTs in the conventional sense. It was purpose-built to be a highly efficient, reliable, and scalable settlement engine. It achieves transaction finality in 3 to 5 seconds with negligible costs, a technical specification that is perfectly suited for the high volume, low-latency demands of institutional finance. The primary vehicle for its adoption is Ripple's on-demand liquidity, ODL, service. This is not a pilot program. It is a live, operational network used by dozens of financial institutions globally. ODL uses XRP as a neutral bridge asset to facilitate instant settlement between 2 different fiat currencies, completely eliminating the need for pre-funded Nostro/Vostro accounts. This unlocks trillions in trapped liquidity for banks and reduces their operational costs by a significant margin. As the world moves to the ISO 20022 standard, which demands greater data richness and efficiency, solutions like ODL that are natively compliant become not just attractive, but necessary. The investor's edge. To prepare as an investor is to understand that XRP's value is directly linked to its utility as a bridge asset. Every successful ODL transaction, every new banking partner that joins RippleNet, every new payment corridor that goes live adds to the fundamental demand for XRP. We are moving past a phase of speculative valuation and into a phase of utility-driven valuation. Furthermore, Ripple's deep engagement with central banks worldwide on central bank digital currency, CBDC, initiatives positions XRP as a potential neutral bridging instrument between different sovereign digital currencies. This is a use case of immense strategic importance that is still not fully appreciated by the market. With the green light from U.S. regulators, the activation of ODL corridors within the U.S. market is the next major catalyst to watch. XRP is not just a cryptocurrency. It is being positioned as a core component of the world's new, modernized financial plumbing. It is the undisputed institutional settlement king. Stellar XLM, the people's money rail and asset tokenization engine. If XRP represents a top-down institutional approach to rewiring finance, then our second essential asset, Stellar XLM, represents an equally powerful bottom-up open-access approach. While sharing a common technological ancestry with XRP, Stellar has carved out a distinct and critical role as a premier network for financial inclusion, remittances, and democratized asset tokenization. It is, in essence, the people's money rail. Why XLM is a core holding? Stellar's power is derived from its open network and its brilliant anchor network model. Anchors are regulated financial institutions and fintechs around the world that act as on- and off-ramps, connecting the Stellar network to local currencies and traditional banking systems. This creates a global, interoperable web of value transfer that is accessible to anyone, not just top-tier banks. This architecture is what makes it a powerhouse for remittances. The integration and deep liquidity of USDC on Stellar has supercharged this ecosystem, providing a stable, trusted, and compliant digital dollar that can be sent anywhere in the world in seconds for a fraction of a penny. For the hundreds of billions of dollars in the global remittance market, this is a revolutionary solution. Beyond remittances, Stellar's native asset issuance capabilities make it a leading platform for the tokenization of real-world assets, RWAs. Its simplicity and low cost allow for everything from tokenized securities to real estate to carbon credits to be issued and traded on its built-in decentralized exchange, SDX. The launch and maturation of Sorabon, its smart contract platform, has further unleashed this potential, allowing for the creation of sophisticated DeFi applications, automated market makers, and complex financial instruments directly on the network. The investor's edge. To prepare as an XLM holder is to recognize that its value will be driven by the network effect. Every new anchor that joins a network, every new fintech that builds a payment app on its rails, every new asset that is tokenized, and every new user that onboards through these services increases the fundamental demand for XLM. XLM is required to open accounts and to pay for every transaction on the network. As the tokenized economy grows and the demand for efficient, accessible financial services explodes, the utility demand for XLM is poised for exponential growth. While XRP aims to serve the banks, XLM aims to serve the world's businesses and its people. In the ISO 20022 future, which emphasizes open banking and accessibility, Stellar's role is not just important, it is indispensable. XDC HBAR, the enterprise-grade ledger for trust and governance. Moving beyond pure payments, the new financial system requires a layer of ultimate trust and data integrity for enterprise and corporate use cases. This is a domain where our third essential ISO 20022 asset, XDC HBAR, stands in a class of its own. XDC is not just another blockchain. It is an enterprise-grade distributed ledger governed by accounts of the world's most trusted corporations and organizations, including Google, IBM, Boeing, Dell, LG, Standard Bank, and Ubisoft. Why HBAR is a must-watch. XDC's unique hash graph consensus algorithm provides asynchronous Byzantine fault tolerance, ABFD, the highest possible grade of security for a distributed network. It offers incredibly high throughput with low, fixed fees, denominated in USD to be predictable, and transaction finality in seconds. This combination of security, performance, and predictable cost makes it the ideal platform for mission-critical enterprise applications where failure is not an option. The key to XDC's power is its governance model. The Governing Council, composed of globally respected, term-limited organizations, ensures there is no single point of failure or control, preventing forks and guaranteeing network stability. This provides a level of trust and long-term assurance that major corporations and governments require before building their core operations on a public ledger. As a result, XDC is quietly becoming the leading platform for use cases that require absolute verifiability and compliance. This includes the tokenization of high-value real-world assets, RWAs, the management of complex supply chains, secure digital identity solutions, and perhaps most importantly, as a foundational ledger for the rapidly growing ESG, environmental, social, and governance market. Platforms like The Guardian, built on XDC, are providing the auditable data layer for carbon credit markets and sustainability reporting, a multi-trillion-dollar industry in the making. The investor's edge. Preparation as an HBAR investor means understanding that its value is not tied to retail hype, but to deep, enterprise-level integration. The deals being made are not announced on social media. They are embedded in corporate supply chains and regulatory compliance frameworks. The utility of HBAR is consumed with every transaction, every token mint, and every data entry on the network. As the world's largest companies begin to tokenize their assets and bring their operations on-chain to meet new standards of transparency and efficiency, the demand for HBAR as the network's fuel is set to scale dramatically. HBAR represents a stake in the trusted, secure, and compliant backbone of the future enterprise economy. Quant QNT, the universal interoperability key. In a world with multiple blockchains, CBDCs, and legacy financial systems all needing to communicate, the single biggest challenge is interoperability. A new financial system cannot be built on isolated digital islands. This is where our fourth critical asset, Quant QNT, comes into play. Quant is not a blockchain itself. It is an interoperability network and operating system over ledger designed to be the connective tissue that links all of them together. Why QNT is essential. The genius of Quant lies in its ambition to solve the interoperability problem at the protocol level without adding another complex blockchain bridge. Its Overledger OS is designed to sit on top of existing networks, allowing seamless communication and value transfer between them. Imagine a world where a CBDC running on a private ledger can seamlessly interact with a tokenized asset on the XRP ledger, which can then trigger a smart contract on Hedera. Quant is building the universal translation layer to make this possible. This capability is of immense interest to central banks and large financial institutions. As they develop their own CBDCs and digital asset strategies, they are acutely aware of the need to interoperate not only with other new systems, but also with their own existing legacy infrastructure. Quant's Overledger is positioned as the primary solution to this multi-trillion-dollar problem. It allows institutions to adopt blockchain technology without being locked into a single ecosystem, providing flexibility and future-proofing their operations. The investor's edge. To prepare as a QNT holder is to understand that you're investing in the network of networks. The value of QNT is intrinsically tied to the growth of the entire digital asset ecosystem. Every new blockchain, every new CBDC, every new enterprise application that needs to communicate with another system represents a potential use case for Quant's Overledger. The QNT token is a key that provides access to this ecosystem, used to pay for licensing fees, transaction processing, and platform usage. As the tokenized world becomes more complex and fragmented, the need for a universal interoperability solution like Quant becomes more critical. Investing in QNT is a bet that in a world of many chains, the one that connects them all will be one of the most valuable. XDC Network, the titan of trade finance. Finally, our fifth essential asset addresses one of the oldest, most inefficient, and largest markets in the world, global trade finance. This multi-trillion-dollar industry, which facilitates commerce by financing the movement of goods, is still drowning in paperwork, manual processes, and settlement delays that can take weeks or months. XDC Network is a purpose-built hybrid blockchain designed to drag this vital industry into the digital age. Why XDC is a critical pick. XDC Network's power comes from its hybrid blockchain architecture. It combines the transparency of a public ledger with the speed, privacy, and performance of a private network. This makes it perfectly suited for the complex needs of trade finance, where sensitive commercial data needs to be shared between permissioned parties, like importers, exporters, and financiers, while still benefiting from the immutability and efficiency of a public settlement layer. The primary use case for XDC is the tokenization of trade finance assets. Think of a bill of lading, a letter of credit, or a purchase invoice. These are traditionally illiquid paper documents. By tokenizing them on the XDC network, they become liquid, tradable digital assets. This unlocks immense value, reduces the risk of fraud, and dramatically accelerates the entire trade finance lifecycle from months to mere days or even hours. XDC has built deep integrations with trade finance bodies, logistics companies, and financial institutions to become the leading platform for the specific high-value niche. The investor's edge. Preparing as an XDC holder means recognizing the immense, untapped potential of its target market. Capturing even a tiny fraction of the global trade finance market would result in hundreds of billions of dollars of value being transacted and settled on the XDC network. The XDC token itself is a utility token of the network, used for paying transaction fees and for collateralizing smart contracts. As the volume of tokenized trade assets grows, so too will the utility demand for XDC. While other projects focus on broad payments or dApps, XDC's laser focus on solving a massive, tangible problem for a specific industry gives a powerful and defensible moat. It is a bet on inevitable digitization of global trade, preparing for the Great Rotation. The 5 assets we have covered today, XRP, XLM, HBAR, QNT, and XDC, are not a random collection of cryptocurrencies. They are a strategic portfolio representing the key pillars of the new ISO 20022 compliant financial world: institutional settlement, accessible payments, enterprise data integrity, universal interoperability, and digitized trade finance. The next run will not be a repeat of the past. It will be driven by what we at CryptoSTANZ call the Great Rotation, a massive shift of capital away from purely speculative assets and into the small handful of foundational infrastructure projects. The time to prepare is now, by understanding the profound and distinct role each of these assets is positioned to play. The silence is ending. The infrastructure is live. The institutional capital is beginning to move. The only question left is, are you prepared for what comes next? Subscribe to CryptoSTANZ and activate the notification bell. We are committed to providing you with the institutional-grade analysis you need to navigate this historic financial transition. The future is being built on this technology. Let's analyze the blueprints together.